Hello, hello, hello. I hope you are well and I hope everything is fantabulous in your world. If you saw the thumbnail, then you know who this legendary person is. And so let's get straight to it. He began life with almost nothing. He was born into slavery. No wealth, no formal stability, no institutional power. And yet, he would go on to become one of the most innovative agriculture scientists in American history. Not because he had access, but because he had resourcefulness. Welcome back to the Literacy Reset 30 Days of Raising Architects. Today, we reset resourcefulness because literacy is not just about absorbing information, it's about using what you know to solve real problems. That played twice, so my bad. All right, let's get into it. We are talking about the most infamous agriculturalist we know, George Washington Carver. Hmm? George Washington Carver was born around 1864, near the end of the Civil War. As a child, he was curious about plants. He studied the natural world closely. He experimented. He observed. Neighbors called him the plant doctor. He walked miles to attend school, but formal education was just so difficult also for him to access. Moved from town to town in search of learning opportunities, faced rejection repeatedly. Still, he persisted. Eventually, he earned a degree in agricultural science and later joined the faculty at Tuskegee Institute. At the time, Southern soil had been depleted by repeating cotton farming. Farmers were trapped in poverty. Carver studied the problem. He read, he researched, he experimented, and he proposed crop rotation. Peanuts, sweet potatoes, soybeans. He developed hundreds of uses for these crops, not because peanuts were glamorous, but because they were practical. He turned knowledge into solutions. Now, literacy fed innovation in his story. Observation became real, hands on, tangible research, and research became application. Application turned around and helped change lives. Mm, I'm going to go straight into the hidden design principle because I feel like we have a little more to discuss. And knowledge becomes powerful when applied, should be something that we all take with us, carry forward, teach to the next generation, because what are we doing this for, right? What are we doing this for? And I believe that when we know that knowledge becomes powerful when it's applied, we respect our knowledge, we take our knowledge seriously, and we use it for good. We use it for good. And so George Washington Carver did not study agriculture to accumulate more facts. He studied to solve problems. That is the difference between information and wisdom. Literacy must move beyond, oh, I read, oh, I answered questions, move on. It must become read, understand, apply, improve something. Carver read scientific texts, but he also read soil conditions, economic systems, human need. True literacy includes scientific literacy, economic literacy, practical literacy, and I will even say cultural literacy. Architects do not gather information for decoration. They gather it so that they can actually build. Now, I'm going to get into how we can utilize these skills in practical ways for our children. But I'm going to say this as a person who considers themselves a student of life, always studying, always learning, always looking at what's happening, what has happened, and what direction I want to even add my own services in. It is because of the wisdom of great pioneers like George Washington Carver, where I said, oh, you have to take what you learn and go do something with it. And my experience of learning among great people while studying global efforts and global initiatives and what does it mean to be a leader in the global space and world, you literally take that on full circle of saying, well, this is what I've learned and this is how I can help, right? Or what is it that I can learn from you and apply to where I live to improve something. Haile Selassie is definitely a steward of, hey, take this information and share it, and make sure that this education is being spread. And so I look at that and I take that on full heed as a person who, again, comes in with a government background, seeing a need in education and saying, that's the direction I want to help. Because, see, poverty is a global issue. Education is a global issue. And if I can do my small part in the world of helping children have access to literacy, and now helping parents who homeschool create learning pathways for their child, which puts them in access to literacy, then I know I'm still being a great steward of the knowledge and information that I have, right? Those who have poured into me, it is the best thing I could ever do is to share that wisdom with everyone else in the world and let people take it and go pay it forward and move the literal light forward. Not everyone knows what their purpose is. I was fortunate to kind of figure mine out sitting among these people where I'm like, I'm trying to be in government. I this is where I'm going, right? I know this is the work that I'm gonna do, only to get there and realize, oh, you are going to do it, but it's not going to look the way you think it's going to look. You're here to serve. And so that's what I'm here to do, is serve and to make sure that no matter what a child looks like, no matter what an income of that child is, that literacy is accessible because can change the trajectory of a whole family's life. And that in itself is applied application that's powerful. And so let's get straight into it now with the practical steps that one can take to help build skills for their students or children. First, connect reading to real world problems. I say connect reading to real life, period. But we're going to respect the good brother and follow the principle as it is. If your child studies plants, start a small garden. Economics, create a mock business. Science, run experiments. History, debate policy decisions. Go to community board meetings. Go to school board meetings. Application deepens retention. 2, teach problem solving around, how can I say this? Because I'm great at projects and I love projects, but I'm going to say this. Things that they can do that's practical and hands-on, right? So how can we reduce waste in our home? How can we grow food in a small space? How can we grow food just based on water, right? Learn hydroponics. How can we design a better daily schedule? Teach problem-based learning in a real way that's practical to what you have going on, even in your home, right? It can start with something small in your home. Have your child research, brainstorm, write a plan, test it. Literacy becomes active and very realistic when we apply that. Next, emphasize interdisciplinary thinking, which is one of my favorite things to do. Carver blended science, agriculture, economics, and education. Encourage your child to connect subjects. Ask, how does this math concept apply to real life? How does this historical event influence today? How does the science intersect with ethics in this particular case? The more we push the questions, they will start to analyze and critically think. Next, value steady contribution over flashy achievements. Carver declined opportunities for fame and wealth. He focused on service. Teach your child, knowledge is not for ego, it is for impact. Knowledge is not for ego, it is for impact. You are not raising a fact collector. You are raising a problem solver. George Washington Carver saw depleted soil and thought, what can be grown here instead? That is resourcefulness. It begins with literacy. Because to solve problems, you need to, 1, understand systems, 2, have the ability to analyze information, and 3, communicate solutions clearly. The last thing you want to do is be talking to a group and they're like, huh? What? What? I'm not following. What? No. And this is why I said in a previous video, have them present. Have them present, have them share. It gets them comfortable with speaking on things. They can speak on different issues. They can speak on their viewpoints. They can validate themselves. And that too will build their confidence. When your child learns to read deeply and apply wisely, they become adaptable. And adaptable people thrive in changing environments. If today, if today made you realize that your homeschool includes strong academics but limited applications, that awareness is powerful. Inside the offer as Clarity Roadmap, we talk through design and project-based literacy units. I love them. No, when I tell you I love them, I love project-based learning. Not only because it's interdisciplinary, I can't even speak. Not because I'm going to go simple, right? Simplify it. Not only because it can include multiple content areas, multiple subjects, but it allows for them to see all the ways things connect. Case in point, real quick, before I really close this out, is one of our project-based learning months, we did animals that lived in Antarctica, or like winter animals. We were able to speak to a wildlife conservationist in Alaska and get to see some of the furry animals. They got to ask her questions. They studied particular animals, and she actually had those animals. And we didn't know that part, right? We knew we wanted to make that connection, and we wanted to make it happen for our students. And they came through, and it was great. And we did everything virtually online. And it was magnificent. Right? It was magnificent. The kids walked away with so much more information. They were able to add her insight into their research as a first source, and so many things. And so think of that when you are building and planning for your own child. Second, connecting reading to real world outcomes, structuring interdisciplinary learning, which I had just said, raising independent problem solvers. So your child doesn't just learn content, they use it. They use it. They know how to use it. They show others that they can use it. That's legendary. Legendary. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Literacy Reset. And today we reset resourcefulness. If this connected to you and you want to be a part of my community, please go ahead and join the R4S Homeschool Studio. The link is in the description. And in that group, I am sharing a lot of things, right? The confident reader and writer, the architect parents, AI prompts that you can use, and so much more. So much more. And so please hit the like button, share this video with another family that is thinking about homeschooling, or an educator who loves what they do. And I will see you in episode 11. Till next time, take care.